Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rahul. I'm going to explain you the concept which I have been done. And the concept really is email resilience service provider. And I've been assigned to do this by the Pearlthoughts. And I'm going to describe you everything in the scope. But before that, the project I've been built this one on the language TypeScript, Node.js, Express.js, and with the framework of Jest. Jest is a framework to for unit testing the everything. I'm going to describe you about the later also. But before that, I'm going to explain the code first. As you can see here on the screen, index.ts is a main application, and it really this is a main entry point also. It sets up the Express.js server, define our API routes. As you can see, it imports the email services, mock provider 1, mock provider 2. So as you can see, mock provider 1 is a primary provider. This is the main thing, biggest asset in our code. Mock provider 2 is also the same. If mock provider fails, mock provider 2 will retrieve the function, and I'm going to explain this one also. As you can see here is the email service, right? This is the workflow of business logic. As you can see, in this code it contains an API rules also like send email and send status on the API listening on the post. And I'm going to explain this one also later. But I'm going to describing. I'm here just telling everything to know about the concept. This one is a I this here email options.ts. Yes, this one is like mm, object of the code, like how we are going to structure of an email object, which contains to from subject to. This means like the person who we are going to send to object from the person who we are going to send an email from address. The subject and body are the email related ones. I just see here I email provider.ts is like it defines a contract that in an email to either specifically and send email method. It's really like it really this one really implements this both to mock provider one and mock provider two. They both are really like real world scenarios. They really help us to uh, send an email. I'm going to tell you this one also later. Okay, coming to the main thing, email service.ts. This is the heart of our resilience logic. This class is instantiated with the primary provider and the fallback provider. As I'm going to explain you the concept now. As you see here, the class email service. This one is contains all primary provider, fallback provider, email status, idempotency map, email queue, process timeout. And I'm going to describe you everything step by step. Now I am going to describe the main thing, main features have been added in this code, which is retry mechanism. This is a concept of automatically reattempts failed operation a specified number of times, which have often been increasing the delays. As you've seen here in this method, a private async this show which and in this is a method which really retries the mechanism, which really, as you can see in the counter, max stress will be 3 and least attempt will be 0, and the delay is also 1000. And this, if it really works like a system prioritize a primary email provider, retries failures only after the consistent failures with the primary delays. With the primary does, it switch to a designated, which means with this method, it really moves with the mock provider one. If mock provider once exceeded the max price 3, it really fallbacks to the mock provider 2. And then we go into this next feature called idempotency. The concept ensures that the operation which executed multiple times produces the same result as executing. It's like once preventing unintended side effects like duplicate emails. And in this is like a property, like I mentioned before, like contains in this email service class. Like it maps the content hash to clean UID for independency. With the help of this unique ID, it generates unique ID. With this helps, it's like more like a provider one. tries to send an email to the particular to the targeted email ID. It really tries to number of it really tries for 3 times. If really fails in that, it really falls back to the mock provider 2. Even in the mock provider 2, it fails. Then the system tries to send an email ID, right? That unique ID will be uh, removed, which means like they are not going to send with that email ID, as it really exceeded the number of times by mock provider 1 and mock provider 2 also. And now, and next concept is like uh, rate limiting. As you see here, the concept rate limiting is a concept where controls the rate at which operations are performed to grant over-limit external services. As you can see in real-world examples, like in recent ChatGPTs, everyone tries to generate a Ghibli photo outside, like by uploading the pictures, and it really tries to generate the photo into Ghibli art. ChatGPT, as you can see in the concept, rate limiting is a user can upload a one picture at a time, and the ChatGPT will generate the image um, like within 5 or 6 minutes, and after that it generates another image. It's like a cycle, uploading images of four times, and after this it excluded this uploading image to the user and ask him to get back to the platform after some particular time. Just like that, rate limiting is also like that. As you can see here, rate limiting is email queue. We used this email queue as it's like logic is like users are set intervals to process items from email queue and define rate limit item. We just set limits to this. We just set that limit is 1,000. And how it works means email sending requests are added to the queue and processed at a control rate, preventing a flood of requests to email providers. That's it with that. Email status tracking. Email status tracking is like providing visibility to the current state of email sending operations. Implementation is this email service.ts. Enum. Export enum. As you can see here, the status means, as you can see here, that we exported enum email status. It's just like if email make mock provider one successfully send that email to the particular targeted person, it shows you that pending status. As I said, as I mentioned earlier, that we're going to follow the rules like this one, right? By performing a post operation, and also it, but before performing a post operation, we need to run that code. This one, as you can see here, right? And I'm going to demonstrate the code by performing these commands. We need to open a terminal and we need to run this particular project directory by following these commands. After clicking these commands, it will shows you like this. And then after you need to start the server. And it will get back to you with which port it is running. As it says that it's running on the port 3000. You need to copy this one as I copied earlier. I need to go back to the postman. I am using this postman to check everything is working fine or not. To open postman, I need to click this method post for checking status of that thing. You need to click the post method, and then you need to set the paste the localhost port number here. And you see here that send email is like API route. It will reach, as I said you earlier, that in the index.ts. You see here endpoint to send queue an email, right? This one really helps to check backs that email is processing or not. As you see here that we need to fill out this key values like this one, and then with the body type we need to click the ROS type with the JSON, with this JSON structure. After clicking on here, by clicking on the send button, we're going to see this under this message email accepted for processing. It generates an unique email ID. It's a very important thing in this project. You need to copy this one, and then as you see here, the another endpoint check the email status with a clean ID. We if you don't forget this endpoints is also copied and go with the another request. As you see here that I have already done this earlier, but here we are going to perform this action by get method. As I said earlier that you need to run this port ports like as you can see here it's running on the port 3000. As you see here that I'm going to replace this unique ID with this one which I have got previously by clicking the send button here. As you see here that the image that has updated to sent from being email accepted from being processing to sent it updated to sent like that. This really works on like this process. And also I need to tell you about this one, right? Utilities logger.ts. As you see here, is logger.ts is like uh, it's a how to say how to describe. It's a basic utility for logging messages to console, helps in debugging and understanding the flow of application. And I'm going to explain this one too. Email service test.js. As you see in this one, we have already imported the email service, email status from the services, email service, and the email provider, like it's a contact one for both the email provider one, email provider two. Email options like the basic structure of the object email. And if you're going to see this here, it really shows you test life cycle. And I'm going to demonstrate this one also. What does this code overall do means sending email with the primary provider, retrieving the fallback if the primary fails, failing if both providers fails, ensuring idempotency don't send the same email twice. Let me give you the demonstration here. As you see here, this is mock providers setting that then and you see here the describing email service. These are the functions, right? And I'm going to tell you about the function, how the function works, everything. Mm, With the help of the complete code, we're going to test the unit testing whether it's working or not. As I showed you earlier that from post method to get method, as you see this is the mock provider one. Is a mock provider one is our primary provider. It really is like a contract to set application, send emails to user IDs, the particular unique IDs. As we have copied earlier in this postman, this is the ID generated by the UID. That's it. Thank you for watching the video.